Um, Hello everyone, welcome back. Hi everyone. Hi all. Um, okay. Hello everyone. A very good afternoon. So I welcome you all again to this session. As you all know, I am Dr. Niharika. I am a professor in the Department of Conservative Dentistry and Endodontics in Triveni Dental College from Bilaspur. I'm also a research collaborator. I love endodontics. I'm also a very passionate researcher. So I am a research collaborate to PhD students also in an engineering college in Jabalpur. So, and today is the third master class of this webinar series. In this class, I'm going to talk about the motion kinematics of endodontic files. In the previous classes, like in the first one, I have already covered torque, speed, and other basics of endodontic files. In the second class, I have covered the metallurgy of the endodontic files. So all those who have actually missed these classes, they can go back and brush up their basics and also the advanced knowledge. Um, okay, and all the sessions are there recorded on Facebook. You can surf my profile. You can go to my profile. You can also go to the page of Bombay Dental and Surgical. There you can see my recorded lecture as well. So as we all know, this is the slide that I have been showing in all my presentations. I mean, in my past two presentations. As we all know that with time, the shaping instruments have changed. Earlier, we used to have stainless steel instruments for shaping the entire canal. With time, there was a big transition from stainless steel files to the nickel titanium files. We had hand nickel titanium files or the files made up of nitinol alloys, and then we had the rotary nickel titanium files. Right now is the era of rotary or reciprocating nickel titanium files. Okay, and why is this transition required? Because studies have shown that stainless steel files create a lot of errors, especially in curved canals. You know, they actually produce a lot of iatrogenic errors, which can affect the prognosis of the teeth, which can affect the healing of the teeth. Okay, and when you use a nickel titanium file, these nickel titanium files are made up of nitinol alloys, and this nitinol alloy has a capacity to come back to its original shape after bending. That means it has a capacity of shape memory, it has a property of shape memory, and it has a property of super elasticity. Super elasticity means it can take the shape of the curved canal. So these two principles make nitinol alloy very useful. What are the other advantages? They maintain the shape of the canal. When you place a nitinol alloy or when you place a file made up of nitinol alloy, a niti file in a canal, it takes the shape of the canal because it is super elastic. Then it also have higher cutting efficiency. It, as I mentioned, it is super elastic, so it can take the shape of the canal. It has greater flexibility. It can bend in any direction. You know, if a canal is mesially curved, distally curved, the niti file has the property to take the shape of the canal and move along the direction of curvature. But friends, what is the biggest drawback of niti file? The biggest drawback of a niti file is instrument fracture, instrument separation in the canals. In my 10 years of practice, I have separated a lot of files. Okay. Even though I use the most advanced systems, I do my rotary in a sequential manner, use everything. Despite of the best efforts, I have separated my file. And I'm sure you must all have separated your files too, because NiTi is most susceptible to fracture. The biggest drawback of NiTi rotary endodontics is the possibility of file fracture. And this file fracture immensely affects the prognosis of a case, especially in cases where there is a huge periapical lesion. It is a Herculean task. You have to either remove the file or you have to bypass the file. So the task becomes really, really difficult. When we talk about NiTi files, two common types of file fractures occurs. One is the flexural fracture and the other is the torsional fracture. What do you mean by flexural fracture? Flexural fracture or cyclic fatigue fracture means when you put a new file, when you put a file inside the canal, the file is subjected to continuous cycles of compression and tension. When you place the file inside the canal, the file is subject to a lot of forces by mechanical movements within the canal. Okay, and these mechanical forces can either be compression or tensile forces. Now, because of this continuous application of these two forces, the life of the file is compromised. So, after a particular life, the file fractures. That is the cyclic fatigue fracture or flexural fracture. For example, if you buy any file system, the manufacturers or the dealers tell you that this file works in maybe 10 molars or 20 molars. But after 20 molars, you have to discard the file. That means the cyclic fatigue of the file is still 20 molars. Beyond 20 molars, the file will fracture. The file will undergo flexural fracture. Okay, that means the file is meant to be used only for particular number of cycles, maybe 500 rpm or maybe 1000 rpm, 1000 rotations, sorry. Next, you talk about torsional fracture. What is torsional fracture? Torsional fracture means you take a file, maybe you take a new file, you put it inside the canal and suddenly the file separates. I'm sure you all must have encountered this condition. So this type of failure is known as torsional fracture failure. Okay. And how does it happen? You put a file inside the canal and tip of the file may bind at any point inside the canal. Most commonly, it binds at the point of curvature, where the curvature starts. So at that point, the tip of the file gets engaged into the surrounding dentine, and that is the point of excessive loading. Okay. And because of excessive loading, the file separates. That means the file gets stuck into the surrounding dentine and fractures. So what are the criterias or how you can prevent file fractures in routine endodontics? One, I'm going to talk about the characteristic or modifications or the criterias which are suggested by the manufacturers. See, whenever we talk about file fractures, there are two types of criteria. One, which is associated with the operator. The second, associated with the manufacturer. The manufacturer makes the file. So they tell the operator how to use the file. We are the operators. We as dental surgeons are not the manufacturers. We can give our inputs to the manufacturers, but we have to use the file as per the directions given by the manufacturers. So in this slide, I'm going to talk about the modifications or the suggestions by the manufacturers how to prevent file fracture or how to increase the life of the file. One, you can do modifications in the design of the file. I'm sure you all must have heard files with cutting tapes, file with non-cutting tapes, file with radial lands, file with non-radial lands, file with greater taper, progressive taper, decreasing taper, file with less taper. Okay, these are the modifications that have been done already by the manufacturers. Second, there are modifications in the endomotor mechanism, like Endomotor comes with torque control. Earlier, there were endomotors without torque control. They could not sense the torque. Okay. So now you have endomotors which can sense the torque, which can control the torque after sensing it. Then there have been modifications in the file metallurgy. Okay. My previous lecture was on file metallurgy. So if you have any doubts, you want to read a complete metallurgy of the files, you can please go through my previous lecture. Secondly, if you want to read about the modifications in the endomotor mechanisms in detail, where we talk about speed and torque, you can go back to my first lecture. That is also there on Facebook. It's also there on my YouTube channel. So coming back to the third point, there were modifications in the file metallurgy. File metallurgy means there was a parent nitti phase. Then the parent nitti phase was subjected to different heat treatment before twisting or before grinding. Okay, that means the output was production of M wire technology, where they played with the austenite and martensite phases, R wire technology, T wire technology, C wire technology. Okay, then after twisting or after grounding, the files were subjected to electropolishing, cryogenic treatment, plasma induced ion implantations. Then, after surface modifications by these mechanisms, the files were again subjected to heat treatment. The output was gold files which have gold finish. I mean, the standard files which have gold finish, like 2 shape by Micromega. It is a beautiful file system. 1 curve, or you say Wave 1 gold. Then there were blue files. Blue files means the file had blue color because of uh, presence of titanium dioxides on the surface of the file due to special heat treatment. Okay. So you have reciproc blue. You have vortex blue. So a lot of modifications have in the file metallurgy have been done just with the intention to increase the cyclic fatigue resistance of the file and torsional resistance of the file. Then introduction of glide path and orifice openers. A concept was introduced to prepare a glide path before using the final shaping file or initial shaping file, and to open or enlarge the orifices. That means enlargement of the coronal 1/3 of the canal so that lesser stresses are produced on the files in the apical areas. Then there were modifications in file kinetics, like how the file moves inside the canal. The motion should be rotary, reciprocating, adaptive, vibratory, and so on. Then there were modifications in the sequence of the file, whether you should use a 3 sequence ka file in which a file system in which 3 files are present, or you should use a system in which 2 files are present, or you should go for a system in which 1 file is present. Okay, so these are some of the modifications that have been suggested and done by the manufacturers to reduce the torsional fatigue failure and cyclic fatigue failure, in short, to prevent file fractures inside the canal. So friends, in today's lecture, I'm going to speak about motion kinetics of the file, how the file is supposed to move inside the canal. Now, when we talk about motion kinetics of the file, 4 motions have been suggested commonly or most excessively. The first one is rotational, reciprocational or reciprocation motion, adaptive motion, and transline motion. Okay. What is rotational motion? Let's go to the rotational motion first. Rotation motion means the file rotates in a circle of 360 degree inside the canal. Continuously it's rotating like this, 360 degrees, like the clock, it's rotating clockwise 360 degrees. And rotational speed is the speed which indicates number of rotations which are generated by the handpiece on the file around the central axis. Okay, in short, the number of rotations a file is making in 1 minute. The unit is revolutions per minute. Please don't get confused. It is number of rotations, but unit is revolutions per. All right. The recommended speed for most rotary system is somewhere around 250 to 500 RPM. Now, next important property which governs the rotational motion of a file is torque. There are a lot of definitions in the torque if you go through Wikipedia, through different journals, through ADA websites, But what is torque basically? Torque is the force which can be correlated as apical forces generated inside the canal through the handpiece, which causes the file to rotate inside the canal without being fractured while maintaining its cutting efficiency on the surrounding radicular dentine. In short, torque is the force which causes the file to rotate. Let's see this. You place a rotary file inside the canal, and this rotary file, when it moves, a torque is required. Or the handpiece of the file through the endomotor generates a torque. This torque makes the rotary file move inside the canal. Okay. So when a rotary file takes the torque and move inside the canal, it goes inside the canal and it moves adjacent to the radicular dentine. As we all know that every reaction has equal and opposite reaction. Okay. So the surrounding radicular dentine, they produces reactionary torque in turn of this torque. And this reactionary torque is directly proportional to the mechanical resistance by the radicular dentine in relation to the rotation movement of the file. So when torque is applied on the file, the surrounding radicular dentine produces reactionary torque. Okay. Let's understand this principle. You are applying torque and the tooth is applying reactionary torque. So if reactionary torque and torque are equal, the file stops rotating. That means your file is stuck at some point. Second, if the torque is more and reactionary torque is less, the file will rotate. This is the desired condition. This is the point we want in our routine practice. Third, the reactionary torque is more, the torque applied is less. So in this case, what will happen? A lot of mechanical forces are being applied on the file. A lot of mechanical stresses are applied on the file. The file will eventually break. Okay. And this condition is the point of torsional failure. And how is the torque calculated? Torque is calculated by the apical force which is applied on the file into the radius of the file. Okay, unit is Newton per centimeter. So any force which is more than the rotating force or the applied force will stop the file from rotating. Torque of the file is the inherent quality of the file. It depends upon the cross section of the file, metallurgy of the file, tip design and taper. So you can't change the torque. Suppose the torque of a file is around 2.5 Newton per centimeter. So that is the inherent quality of the file. You cannot change the maximum torque limit of the file. Okay, this is the torque limit of the file. Let me get back to this point. As I mentioned that if reactionary torque is more than your torque, so the file will fracture. So this is the point which the endomotor takes into consideration. They consider this torque limit. Okay. When we talk about speed again, speed is directly correlated to cutting efficiency and speed is inversely related to torque. If a file has more speed, okay, the cutting efficiency will be more. But if the file has more speed, the torque applied should be less. Okay, let's see this. If speed is more, the cutting efficiency of the file will be more. If speed is less, the cutting efficiency of the file will be less. If speed is more, torque required is less. Why? Because if you apply more torque, file will fracture. If the speed is less, you apply more torque, you apply more force on the file to achieve the cutting efficiency, to increase the cutting efficiency of the file. So that torque should be applied in a limit. But if more torque is applied, the file may fracture. This is the endomotor that I have been using, and I have been using with this endomotor from past 10 years. So I decided to put the picture of this endomotor and discuss a little about this endomotor. Control is an endomotor by Micromega. This is a endomotor with low torque control. That means it has a torque limit in the lowest range. You can see here the torque limit is in the lowest range. It is from 0.5 to 4 Newton per minute. That is, it can sense even the smallest torque, even the smallest reactionary torque which is produced by the dentine, and therefore it can prevent file fracture. So endomotors that have been integrated with torque control functions, they can have torque control function either in the form of auto stop mechanism, auto reverse mechanism, optimal torque reverse, and auto reduction. I am going to tell you how. Suppose a file has a torque limit of 2 Newton per centimeter. Okay, if you buy a file, you can see the torque limit. That is the torque limit. So that is the limit beyond which the file will fracture. Okay, so always on the endomotor, set a parameter which is less than the specified torque limit. Okay, suppose the specified torque limit is 2.5 Newton per centimeter. Now, if the reactionary torque is more than 2.5 centimeter Newton per centimeter, the file will break. So a file is safe to produce cutting efficiency to be used inside the canal till the amount of reactionary torque produced is 2.5 Newton per centimeters. Okay. Now let's see. As soon as the instrument specific torque is sensed by the endomotor, you put the file inside the canal. Okay. The file cuts. At a point, it reaches the torque limit. As soon as the endomotor senses this torque limit, okay, the endomotor can do either of the two functions. First, the motor will stop the file to rotate, that is auto stop. The file stops and rotates again. That means at that particular point where the file is touching the radicular dentine, the amount of reactionary torque produced is more than the torque limit of your specified instrument. So this is a safety mechanism by the file, by the motor. Second safety mechanism is that when the endomotor produces the torque, or when the endomotor rotates the file, just a minute please. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, the second mechanism is auto reverse mechanism. That means, suppose the torque limit of the file is 3 Newton per centimeter. Okay, that means beyond 3 Newton per centimeter, the file will fracture. Okay, it is safe to be used within 3 Newton per centimeter. So you set the desired torque limit on the endomotor, and when the endomotor rotates the file inside the canal at any point or maybe at some point where the reactionary torque is more than 3 or it reaches 3, okay, the endomotor senses it. As soon as it senses it, it stops the file, and instead of rotating clockwise, the file rotates anti-clockwise and comes out. You know, the file is rotating clockwise, it is moving inside the canal. As soon as the endomotor senses the torque limit, the lowest torque, the highest torque limit, it makes the file to rotate anti-clockwise and pulls the file out. That is the auto reverse mechanism. Now look at this diagram, look at this video. The file is moving inside the canal. See the amount of torque, it's gradually increasing. Okay. The preset torque limit or the torque limit is 1.2 Newton per centimeter. Beyond 1.2, the file will fracture. Okay, as soon as the torque limit reaches 1.2, the endomotor senses it and the file moves out. This is the reactionary torque that the endomotor is sensing. Most of the times people are confused between this reactionary torque and torque. No, reactionary torque is separate, torque is separate, and endomotor sense reactionary torque. Now, next parameter or next mechanism that have been incorporated in the recent endomotors is optimum torque reverse or adaptive torque reverse function. Okay, let's see how it works. The motor rotates the file continuously in clockwise direction. The file rotates continuously in the clockwise direction at one particular point or at any point. If the torque limit exceeds the pre-existing torque set limit, okay, the rotation reverses to 90-degree counterclockwise and 180-degree clockwise. That means it moves 90-degree at counterclockwise and 180 degrees clockwise. 90-degree, it takes a reciprocating motion. It goes back 90-degree counterclockwise and 180-degree clockwise. So in this, the net movement is only 1/4 circle. Okay, 1/4 back and half front. 1/4 back and half front. It moves like this. It moves like this until unless the torque reaches the limit, reaches to a point below the preset torque level. Okay. By this, what is happening? When the file is moving in the counterclockwise direction, the file is getting disengaged from the surrounding dentine. Henceforth, all the stresses are relieved, right? Once all the stresses are relieved, the file moves again in the clockwise direction. When it moves again in the clockwise direction, it engages dentine. The file is superimposed by stresses. So, to reduce those stresses, again it moves in the counterclockwise direction. Then again it moves in the clockwise direction. So, this is a reciprocating motion. So when the file reaches the preset torque limit, or sorry, when the endomotor senses that reactionary torque is almost reaching the preset torque limit, it moves the file in reciprocating motion. Okay. So this is optimum torque reverse function or torque provoked reversal of the direction of rotation from continuous rotation to alternating rotation and reciprocation. So what are the advantages of this optimum torque reverse motion? First, it generates lower maximum torque. Okay, it reduces the stresses on the file, and both of these factors are very important as they reduce the chances of instrument separation inside the canal. It also improves the cutting efficiency. There is also a slight modification of the OTR technique, which is known as adaptive torque reverse function. Adaptive torque reverse function means when you set the motor in your adaptive torque reverse function and you place the file inside the canal, suppose the file binds at certain point. Okay, that means the reactionary torque exceeds the torque limit which is set. At that point, the file automatically rotates between 180 degrees clockwise, 80-degree counterclockwise, 90-degree clockwise, 180-degree forward, 90-degree backward, 180-degree forward and 90-degree backward, or it may go 240 degrees clockwise and 90 degrees backward. So in this reciprocation method or reciprocation motion, the stresses are relieved while the file is getting advanced into the canal. This is ATR technique. And this is how it works. You place the file inside the canal and as soon as it binds, the file moves in ATR. That means 180-degree clockwise, 90-degree anti-clockwise. 180 forward, 90-degree backward. 180 forward, 90-degree backward. And yes, I have been using this technique in my clinic when I feel the canal is difficult to be shaped by the file, or there are chances of file segregation, especially when I'm using a 25 size rotary file in a calcified canal, or I'm going to use a smaller file in an extremely curved canal. So this motion is very, very helpful. But yes, you have to be very patient when you're using your file in adaptive motion. Plus, you don't have to apply too much of pressure. You just make the file loose, move very, very, very freely inside the canal. This ATR motion is available in many endomotors, and there is one endomotor that is marketed by Bombay Dental and Surgical. That's Endomatic. It's quite reasonable. It has all the features. It has auto reverse. It has auto stop. It has ATR technology. So that makes your work very, very easy. Plus, that has an integrated apex locator as well. So you don't have to bother to take master cone X-rays, or working length X-ray again and again. This is the motor that I have been using in my routine practice. I mean, I'm not talking about the COVID era, but pre-COVID, I had an OPD of around 10 to 15 cases in a day. I mean, 10 to 15 root canals I used to do in a day. So this endomotor is like a boon for me. It's very handy, very lightweight. The head size is very small, and shaping is very easy. I don't have to take my patients again and again for X-rays. So that this is a nice option in short. Again, next is apical torque reduction. Apical torque reduction means the endomotor will automatically reduce the amount of generated torque as soon as the torque, reactionary torque, reaches the level of your preset torque. Okay. So let's go through some important clinical points. You should always choose an endomotor which has low torque values. Don't choose an endomotor which has high torque value limit, like 5 Newton or 4 Newton. No, we should always choose an endomotor which has a low limit of torque values. Although right now there are endomotors only with low torque values. Earlier there were higher torque value endomotors available. Second, please be specific when you're working with instruments about their torque and speed values. If the manufacturer say that one file has to be used at a torque of no more than 3 Newton per centimeter, please be instrument specific. Don't go beyond 3. You know, you can do some alterations, slight alterations with experience, but for beginners, I would recommend to you, please stick to the specified values. When we talk about greater taper files like your 8% or 12%, which are orifice openers, or you have those 7%, 8%, 9% files. When we talk about these larger and greater taper files, these files require more torque. So they are more susceptible to cyclic fracture. But when we talk about the smaller or lesser taper files like 2% file or 4% files or 3% files, these are the files because they are very, very small. They are very flexible because of their lesser taper. They require less torque. But because they require less torque, they are more susceptible to torsional fatigue failure when compared with cyclic failures. I think this is the same point which has been repeated. And it is always recommended to keep the speed of night eye rotaries low. Please don't go with higher speeds like 500, 600, 700. 500 it's still okay when you're alternating, when you're modifying the torque. But try to keep your rotaries below 300 RPM. You can use an increased speed, but the metallurgy of the file should permit that. The design of the file should permit. Like when we're talking about heat treated files, these files have higher flexibility, lower cyclic fatigue failure, lower torsional fatigue failure. So they can be used at a higher speed. All right. So choose the file system and use it at that particular speed only, because everything has been preset by the manufacturer depending upon the design of the file. Just a very important clinical tip. that, as we all know, we use EDTA. I'm sure you all must be using the gel. EDTA gel is used commonly, like glide, is used commonly for lubrication of the canals while shaping, for emulsification of the dental pulp. It acts as a chelating agent. Chelating agent means it helps in removal of the inorganic smear layer, and it acts as a surfactant also. Surfactant means it lowers the surface tension and thereby allows sodium hypochlorite to enter inside the dentinal tubules. So these are the functions of EDTA gel. But a study has been done. And this study that was done by Dr. Bosler, Dr. Peters, and Dr. Zender in the year 2007, this study states that during canal shaping, lubricants like EDTA have not been shown to be very beneficial, but they can increase the torque for the rotary file. They can increase the mechanical stresses on the rotary file. On the contrary, flooding the canals with sodium hypochlorite during shaping reduces the accumulation of mechanical stresses, the torque application on the file, and at the same time, as we all know, it promotes disinfection also. So, one important tip here is that while shaping, it's important or it's beneficial if you fill or flood the chamber and the canal with sodium hypochlorite, but not after initial negotiation. I mean, during initial negotiation. Sodium hypochlorite should never be used during initial negotiation. For initial negotiation, please use EDTA or a viscous chelator. After using viscous chelator, when you have debrided the pulp tissue, then you flood the canals with sodium hypochlorite to finally shape the canals. Okay? So use rotaries only after a glide path preparation. Coming to glide path, what is glide path? Glide path is a pathway which confirms the passive movement of rotary instruments into the canal. In short, your rotary files always reproduce the glide path. Suppose the canal is S in shape. So the rotary file will take the shape of the glide path file. If the glide path file moves in the shape of S, the rotary file will also move in the shape of S. So your shaping files reproduce the glide path files. Please keep in mind. And the minimum size of a glide path file should be a super loose 10 number K file, not a 6 number file, not a 8 number file. It should be a super loose 10 number K file. This is the thumb rule, despite of any metallurgical advancements or any advancement in the file design. And only after establishment of a reproducible glide path up to size 10 number K file, it can be enlarged either mechanically or manually. What I follow in my routine practice is I always use a 10 number K file to establish the glide path, to maintain latency, to scout the canals. After 10 number K file, I can switch on to 15 number file, but 10 number file is mandatory, you know. And best is for beginners, I would suggest to go for a 10 number file, go for a 15 number file, go for a 20 number file, and then use your rotary files. Okay, but if the canal is curved, then you should go for a 15 number file and 20 number file only when they are made up of nitide. Don't use SS 20 number file or SS 50 number file in case of curved canals. Okay, these days we have beautiful file systems available. I'm talking about the hand files where you have 12 number file, you have 70 number file, and I think 13 number also. This is by Bombay Dental and Surgical in the name of Dontix. So if you are interested, they are really good, especially when you're negotiating calcified canal or acutely curved canal. So you can use a 12 number file also, which is very useful. So coming back to the point, after establishing the initial glide path or after establishing the path with a 10 number K file, you can enlarge the pathway or you can establish the glide path by using a manual file method or a mechanical file. Bombay Dental Surgical has again come out with this reciprocating handpiece. This reciprocating handpiece moves the file in a clockwise and anti-clockwise direction, which mimics your watch winding motion. So without minimizing the chances of iatrogenic errors, you can use your 2% file, K files, attach with this handpiece and prepare a glide path. Besides, there are also manual glide path files, especially as I mentioned 10 number K file. When we talk about 10 number K file, it can be either 10 number K file, either C plus file or C pilot file. Let's understand the difference between these three files. K file is your regular files, okay, where the taper is 2% throughout the length of the file. When you talk about C plus files, these files are variable taper. That means till initial 4 millimeters, the taper varies. You can see in the diagram, you can see the speed here. The taper may be 4%. When you talk about 10 number file, the taper is 4%. In 8 is 4.5. In 6 it's 5% taper. And after 4th millimeter, the taper becomes constant to 2%. So there is a variable change in the taper of the file system. It has a stiff cutting tip. Cutting tip means it is very useful when you are negotiating the curved canals, okay, and calcified canals. Sorry, it is very useful when you are negotiating calcified canals but not curved canals. There is a little drawback with this file. These file systems have a cutting tip, okay. So if you're going to use in the curved canals, these files may create ledge. You have to be very careful. You should pre-curve the file and use them inside the canal. Next, when we talk about C pilot files are the files where they have a non-cutting tip. The tip is non-cutting, so the chances of ledging or zipping or transportation is very less with C pilot files. Also, also another advantage of C pilot file is that there is a file with 12.5 tip size. So if you're working with a 10 number file, you can switch on to 12.5 number file and you can switch on to 15 number file. Okay. Similarly, the system is in Dontic files of Micromega by BDS also, where you have a 10 number file and 12 number file. Okay. So there is a slight change in the progression or diameter of the file as the size increases, which is very useful when you're negotiating curved canals. Now, look at this. You have a 10 number file, you have 15 number file, and you have a rotary file, which is 14 number. So if I'm going to use a 10 number file, then I'm going to use a 12 number file, then I'm going to use a 15 number file. That's one set. I'm absolutely safe. 10 number file, 12 number file, 15 number file for curved canal. But why should I go and use hand files again and again when I have an option of using my rotary file? Rotary file is comparatively easy. It saves your time. It saves your efficiency. It enhances your efficiency. It maintains the curvature of the canal. So rotary file is anytime better. Now, if I am going to use this particular type of rotary file, this is 1G by Micromega. The tip size of 1G is 0.14, which is less than the tip size of a 15 number file. So if I'm going to shape my curved canals, or if I'm going to shape the curved canals, why should I go and use a 15 number file? Most of the time in my practice, I don't use a 15 number file. I use a 10 number file, I use 1G, then I use my shaping files. Okay, this is the advantage of 1G. I always suggest this method. Use a 10 number file, which is 2%. Use your 1G, which is 14 number, less than 15 number, 14 number, 3%. Okay. And then you're going to use a 4% file. So you are moving from a 2% file to 3% file to 4% file and then to a 6% file. Okay. Imagine how much dentine is being saved. How much conservative is your preparation. How easy is the task. Right? Other advantages are that lot of modifications have been made by the manufacturers in the design of the file, where it has a variable cross section, less screwing effect. The file doesn't screw inside the canal. It enhances more debris removal because of its asymmetrical cross section, and it has an enhanced cutting action also. So the best thing about the file is that tip size is 14, taper is 3, it produces a glide path, it prepares the canal for shaping files because it has some cutting action also. Look at this. 1G can negotiate any type of curvature. So if this was a case, I used my 10 number file, I used my 1G, then I used my shaping file. That's all. Now, Uh, even studies have supported this cause that when a shaping file was used after preparing a glide path, there were less forces on the instrument. The failure, the separation of the instrument was less. The torsional forces and the cyclic fatigue was less. When we talk about pre-flaring, yes, pre-flaring is another concept which reduces the amount of forces acting on the file and thereby reduces the chances of file fracture either by cyclic fatigue or torsional failure. So both these concepts, the file glide path preparation and manual pre-flaring, are very important when you shape the canals. Coming to second motion. Second motion is reciprocation motion. Okay, reciprocation motion is defined as repetitive back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It can be clockwise, counterclockwise, or it can be counterclockwise and clockwise. So it incorporates both the motions in the same thing, same time. The basis of balanced force, the basis of reciprocation motion is the balanced force technique that was introduced in 1985 by Dr. James B. Rohn. Let's see what is balanced force technique. He proposed that when you use a K file, you put a K file inside the canal, you move it, bend it 90 degrees, take 1/4 of the circle. When you move in 1/4 of the circle in clockwise direction, it cuts the dentine. Okay, so you take your file back and take 180 to 270 degrees centigrade. This is how you move. Degrees, sorry, not centigrade. This is how you move. You take the file to position 0 and take half circle. Okay, when you're taking half the circle, the file is disengaged from the surrounding radicular dentine. Also, it helps in removal of that shearing dentine, in chipping that dentine from the wall. So first phase, cut the dentine. Second, it scrapes the dentine. And in the third phase, when you move the file again clockwise 1/4 of a circle, it loads the cut dentine on the file and finally forces it out of the canal. This is your balanced force technique. And this is the basis of reciprocation motion. All right. So there are two types of reciprocating motions that have been used in endodontics for shaping. The first one says you move the file clockwise, you move the file anti-clockwise. You move the file 30 degrees clockwise, you move the file 30 degrees anti-clockwise. So there is no rotation effect. It's just like this. Move front, back, front, back, front, back. The file is not moving. Okay. Asymmetric oscillations means you move a file, say 30 degrees clockwise or 180 degrees clockwise, you move the file 30 degrees anti-clockwise. Okay, there is asymmetric movements in either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, because of which there is a net movement in either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, which is known as asymmetric reciprocating oscillations leading to rotational effects. So let's come to complete oscillating reciprocations. That means the file is moving clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. no rotational effect of the file at all. This depends, or the idea is simple, the classic watch winding motion with the manual SS file. Like this. One second. Okay. So, M4 safety handpiece was introduced by Cybron Ando, and this handpiece incorporated symmetric oscillations. Okay, the advantages of these handpieces are that they can be used with your 2% K files, and they can produce the same watch, or they can replicate the same watch winding motion as you used to produce in the canals when shaping or initial shaping, especially to avoid iatrogenic errors. All right. So this is a push button handpiece, and it has a 30-degree reciprocation mode. That means the handpiece moves the file 30-degree clockwise, 30-degree anti-clockwise, 30-degree clockwise, 30-degree anti-clockwise. This is how it moves. Okay, and maximum speed is around 10,000 rpm. Gear ratio is 4:1. If you want to understand, learn more about gear ratio, you can go back to my first lecture. In short, gear ratio 4:1 means the micromotor will produce the speed of 40,000 rpm, which will be converted to the speed of 10,000 rpm with this endomotor, with this handpiece. Okay, it converts the speed from x to x by 4. Then M4 this is somewhat expensive for most of dental surgeons. So Bombay Dental Surgical have come out with a nice solution. This handpiece is K400 handpiece, and this is quite economic. This is same like Cybron Ando handpiece, and 30-degree reciprocating motion means 30-degree clockwise, anti-clockwise. It stimulates, it mimics the watch winding motion inside the canal, and it's very nice when you're shaping, um, when you're initially shaping the canal with the 10 number, 15 number, or say 20 number um, K files, SSK file, or even NITI files. Okay, and the gear ratio is 10:1. In this, the recommended speed is 400 to 3000. Initially, we would recommend you to use a speed of 4000 rpm. Okay, later on you can increase the speed to 1000 or maybe 2000 rpm depending upon your efficiency. So how do you use these handpieces? You put a 6 number, 8 number, or a 10 number K file. Then after 10 number K file, you can directly jump to 10 number K, 15 number K file, 20 number K file with this handpiece. Okay, you can pre-curve the file, and you can use the files in the pre-curved manner along with this handpiece. So it enhances your efficiency, it saves your time, and it is very useful in short. There are chances of less file separation. Efficient cutting, as I mentioned, enhances your efficiency. When you talk about the reciprocating angles, it has been suggested that those handpieces which produce less reciprocating angles, that means in which the angle is less. If 30 degree you have suppose you have a handpiece with 30-degree reciprocation, you have a handpiece with 60-degree reciprocation. So any handpiece that produces a reciprocation angle of 30 degrees, or less reciprocation angle, is always better than the comparative one. Why? Because when the reciprocation angle in clockwise and anti-clockwise is less, the amount of torsional load on the file will be less. So the chances of instrument separation in comparison will be less. So always use reciprocating handpiece with lesser degree of reciprocating movements when you're going to use your hand files for preparing glide path. But what is the drawback of rotational reciprocations? Okay, it reduces the cutting efficiency. It doesn't cut easily. Okay, this is a very nice tool for preparing glide path, but when you talk about shaping, it becomes difficult. More inward pressure is required. So your files may fracture. Your larger files may fracture easily. When you're talking about your 30 number file in a curved canal, when you're talking about your 40 number file in a curved canal, so these files may fracture. It has a limited capacity to remove the debris from the canal, all right? And chances of iatrogenic errors are of course high when you're going to use a stainless steel file. Suppose you're using a SS file of 25 or 30 number to shape a canal which is quite curved, which is acutely curved. So in such cases, it's better to limit these hand pieces only for initial scouting and glide path preparation. After glide path preparation, it's better to use your rotating or reciprocating shaping files. Okay. So now coming to partial or asymmetric reciprocation. What is partial and asymmetric rotation? Partial and asymmetric rotation means the file moves in clockwise and counterclockwise direction in such a manner that either one of them is more than the other. Okay, so angle of rotation in the cutting direction is higher than the angle of rotation in the opposite non-cutting direction. If suppose I'm going to use a two-shape file, a two-shape file TS1 cuts in clockwise direction. So if I'm going to use the file, I use it, it moves 180-degree clockwise and 30 degrees anti-clockwise. That means in 180 degrees, it's cutting the dentine. When it is moving back to uh, maybe 60 degrees or 30 degree, when it is moving back, it is getting relieved from the surrounding dentinal stresses. So in that way, the fatigue life increases, the chances of file separation decreases. All right. So the angle of rotation, how much the file should move in the cutting direction, depends upon the elastic limit of the file. If the elastic limit of the file is more, and how do you achieve more elastic limit of the file? By advanced metallurgical processes like heat treatment, by advanced design of the file. So if the elastic limit of the file is more, the reciprocation angle will be more, or the rotation angle in the cutting direction will be more. Okay, so your cutting will be more, right? If the angle of rotation in the cutting direction is less, the cutting will be less, and that depends upon the elastic limit of the file. That is why files which are made up of advanced metallurgical, modifications like heat treatment, gold glue files. These files have higher angle of rotation, okay, than the previous files in the cutting direction, because the elastic limit of the file is definitely more. All right. So the advantages are, it has an adequate cutting efficiency. It has an easy progression in the canal. You don't have to force the instrument inside the canal. The instrument goes easily inside the canal. And also there are less torsional stresses in the file, leading to less fracture of the file inside the canal. This principle was incorporated or used by Dr. Kasim Yared in the year 2008 when he published a paper. He used F2 file. F2 file is 8% taper, 25 tip size file by Dentsply. He used F2 file in reciprocating motion. Okay, how? The RPM was set to around 400. Okay, speed was 400 RPM, and on an adaptive torque reverse endomotor, what he did, he modified the clockwise and the counterclockwise angle. The clockwise angle was 144, the counterclockwise was 172. Now see here, the clockwise is more, counterclockwise is less. That means the file is cutting in the clockwise direction. Had it been cutting in the anti-clockwise direction, then anti-clockwise angle would have been more. Okay. So F2 Pro Taper Nitai was used by Dr. Yared for canal preparation in the reciprocation motion. Okay. And he suggested that instead of using F2 in a sequential manner, where you are going to use an SX, S1, S2, F1, F2, F3, you can use directly F2 after your manual 10 number file. So it saves your time. This becomes a one file system. Also, it enhances the fatigue resistance of the file. Then the the chances of cross contamination becomes less because one file is used in one case. Okay, and it becomes cost effective where you, like you are going to use a set of 4 files or 5 files in a case. Instead, you're going to use only one file in a case. So it saves your time, it saves your cost, it becomes one file system, it reduces the chances of cross contamination, especially prions. Then a lot of follow-up studies were done, and this study was done in the year 2010. And this study suggested that one F2, when it was used in a reciprocating motion, one F2 file can be used to shape 6 curved canals. Okay, ideally, when we talk about protaper system, not protaper gold, just the protaper system, one protaper system, it's supposed to be used in around 5 cases, 4 or 5 cases, or 3 or 4 cases. But with F2, okay, when you're going to use F2 in the reciprocating motion, you can use one file to shape 6 curved canals. Okay, also using F2 single file in reciprocating motion obviously saved your time. In contrast, when multi-sequence protaper files were used to shape the canals. Then it was also reported that reciprocating movement enhances the cyclic fatigue life of protaper file in comparison when the file was used in continuous rotation. So yes, when we talk about uh, debris removal, there were no significant difference. That means the debris removal capacity of F2 was almost same as those of other files when used in continuous rotation. So the idea was, when you're getting a file which is cost effective, which has a high cyclic fatigue, which can be used in number of cases, especially curved canals with similar amount of debris removal, this is definitely a better option. All right. So on this single file reciprocating technique, a lot of systems were introduced. Two main systems were, they were introduced in the year 2011 by Dr. Clifford Raudel, Dr. William Weber, and Dr. Garrett, Dr. Ghassan Yared, and many others, Dr. Cutler also. There was a team of eminent endodontists, and they introduced the system after 3 years of extensive research. The systems were, two companies introduced the systems. They were the first one to introduce Wave 1 system by Dentsply Malifer and Reciproc system by VDW. And these manufacturers advocated that one file can be used to shape the canal, okay, completely. But they were supposed to be used only for one case. Like after one case, you cannot reuse the file in second case because they cannot be autoclaved. These files cannot be autoclaved. So they were recommended to be used in one case only. Then modifications were done. The Wave 1 file was quite stiff in nature. It was less flexible, quite flexible than the options available then, but it was still a stiff file, because of which the iatrogenic errors produced by operator were quite more. So to enhance the efficacy of the file, the files were subjected to special heat treatment, and finally the result was Wave 1 Gold and Reciproc Blue. Wave 1 Gold and Reciproc Blue, they have a reverse cutting edge. That means they don't cut in the clockwise direction, but they cut in the anti-clockwise direction. So the protocol was, the file moves clockwise 30 degree, but anti-clockwise 150 degree. Okay. Anti-clockwise, this is moving 150 degree, but clockwise it's moving 30 degrees. So the net movement was 120 degrees. One reciprocation rotation movement produced a net movement of 120 degrees. That means 3 cycles were required to produce a full complete circle. Okay, that means 4 or 5 strokes or 3 or 4 strokes were required for complete shaping of the canal. So as I mentioned, these files were used, these files used to cut in counterclockwise direction. Why? Because they were designed with a reverse cutting helix. Okay, they cut at 150 degrees centigrade. They engage, sorry, degrees. They engage and cut the dentine in 150 degrees counterclockwise, and they disengage themselves at 30 degrees clockwise. So three reciprocating cycles were required. You can see here. And this protocol was suggested protocol with Wave 1 Gold was very simple. You take a 10 number file, you scout, you establish patency, then you take a glide path. Pro gliders you can use by Densify, you can use 1G by Micromega. Then you establish a glide path. After glide path, you can directly use your primary Wave 1 Gold file. So the reciprocation motion reduces the risk associated with continuous rotation, like the chances of iatrogenic errors like ledging, perforation, zipping, transportation, apical transportation. When you're using a file in reciprocation, it reduces the stresses all along the length of the file because the file engages the dentine, the file disengages the dentine. It cuts, it relieves. It cuts, it relieves. Okay. And there is less risk of file binding inside the canal because of this mechanism. So these are the advantages why the files were used. Even we did a study. The study was done in the year 2016. And in this study, we used three single file systems working in different motions. We used one shape that was marketed by Bombay Dental. Okay, and we used one shape was used in continuous rotation. Wave one was used in reciprocating motion, and SAF or self-adjusting file system was used with vibratory transline motion. The result suggested that there was no difference in the post-operative pain when the root canals were done using files in continuous rotation and reciprocating rotation. Okay. The biggest drawback of reciprocation motion is that large taper size. The file systems that have been suggested to be used in reciprocating motions, they have really large taper. You can see here reciproc blue. The taper is 8%, 6%, 5%. Also, although it's not a progressive taper, the taper reduces after a few millimeters, but still at the tip, at the apical constriction, the taper is too much. Suppose you have a curvature in the apical one third or in the apical region of the tooth. In those cases, if you're going to use a 8% file, the chances of iatrogenic errors increases. Similarly, when you talk about Wave 1 Gold, the tip size is small, 0.20, okay, which is equal to a 20 number K file, but the taper is 7%. If you're talking about a calcified canal or a file with curvatures in the apical third, it's difficult, or it's very it becomes problematic when you're going to use a file with greater taper. So honestly, these files are really good. They have high cyclic fatigue. The flexibility is really good, but the taper is too much. And because of this high taper, the chances of file fracture increases in difficult cases like calcified canals or canals with curvatures. So the question lies that can we use a rotary file in the reciprocating mode? Yes. But you should understand two principles. You should understand the reciprocating and rotating angles. You cannot just take any rotary file and use it in any desired angle. No, you cannot. You should know the file design, the metallurgy of the file, and you should know what reciprocating motion or reciprocating angle and rotation angle is required. Second, you should understand whether the file cuts in the forward direction or in the reverse direction. If the file is cutting in the reverse direction, that means the counterclockwise angle will be more than your clockwise angle. Okay. if the file is cutting in your forward direction. Okay, that means the clockwise rotation angle should be more than your anti-clockwise rotation. So you should understand the principles. Like if I'm going to use a two-shape file in a reciprocating motion, in that case, as I know, the file cuts in a forward motion. So I should use more of clockwise angle, okay, than your counterclockwise angle. The rule of thumb when you're talking about reciprocal angle is that sum of forward angle and sum of backward angle must be more than 120 degrees. Okay, for example, I'm going to use a two shape file, ts1 file, in reciprocating motion. And suppose I'm not telling you scientifically, I'm just telling you, suppose I'm just exemplifying you, given an example, that suppose I'm going to use the clockwise angle at 90 degree. Okay, so your counterclockwise angle should be minimum 30 degrees, because the sum of these two angles should not be less than 120. It should always be more than 120 degrees. Now coming to third important motion, that's adaptive motion. um, Adaptive motion was first introduced in the year 2013 by Cybron Ando, and they incorporated this motion in their own endomotor that was marketed in the name of Elements. Okay, adaptive motion is an amalgamation of rotary and reciprocating motions both. It's like the adaptive torque reverse control, what I showed you before, what I mentioned you before. The ideology is very simple. When you place a file inside the canal and there are absolutely no stresses acting on the file, like the file is moving in a straight canal, okay, in a well patent canal. So the file moves clockwise, it stops, and then it restarts. It continues to move in a clockwise direction only. Now, suppose if at any point the file is subjected to high torque force, reactionary torque force, or the file is subjected to high stresses at any point inside the canal. So at that particular point, the endomotor senses it, and automatically the file continues to move in reciprocation motion. That means it moves clockwise, anti-clockwise. It moves clockwise 600 degrees, anti-clockwise it may move to 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 70 degrees, depending upon the intracanal stresses. How much stress is there and what should be the angle in the counterclockwise direction is sensed and decided by the endomotor itself. And studies have suggested that adaptive motion significantly increases the fracture resistance, especially to cyclic fatigue. It also reduces the torsional stresses acting on the file. So the advantages are it reduces the tendency of cyclic failure, cyclic fatigue fracture in cases of curved canals, because from clockwise the motion becomes to clockwise, counterclockwise, reciprocating motion. Okay. Because of this reciprocating motion, it reduces the stresses on the file, it enhances the life of the file, it decreases debris extrusion and decreases dentinal crack. But the drawback with this technology is that this is currently available in one endomotor with one particular its file system. So you have to use that, and you have to be very specific. You can't just use adaptive motion technology in any of the endomotors. You have to be endomotor specific when you're going to use this particular type of motion. There is no chance of versatility. You cannot be versatile then. You have to buy that endomotor, and you're going to use that adaptive motion technology in one endomotor only. So you finally get restricted to one endomotor. So this is the endomotor I was talking about. It's a beautiful endomotor by Kavukar, and they have a TF adaptive setting. The adaptive motor automatically selects the best movement for each clinical conditions, preventing engaging of the file into the surrounding debris. So the endomotor automatically senses the amount of intracanal stresses, and therefore after sensing it, it has an algorithm which generates or which automatically produces the desired reciprocating angles in clockwise and counterclockwise direction. Uh, so TF adaptive files have been suggested to be used in with this endomotors, and these files are a bit tricky. I am not comfortable, but if you're comfortable, it's nice. So these files are actually divided into two categories. This is how they decide if the canal is acutely curved, is acute curvature, calcified canal. So they have a small pack of files, a pack of small files. If the canal seems straight and patent, wide canals like distals, like one distal in mandibular molar. Okay, so in those cases, the manufacturers, they have a pack of medium or large files. Okay, idea is very simple. You take a 10 number file. If the 10 number file goes easily and the 50 number file doesn't go, that means you should use the pack with a small files. If the 50 number file is goes easily, it is loose inside the canal, that means you should use a pack of medium or large files. Okay, so they have two categories of file, the smaller files and the medium or large file. Taper varies. You can see here again the problem is uh, green file, which is 25 number file, has a taper of 8%. All right. And if you see the smaller file, it has a taper of 4%. So the color coding is a bit confusing if you're going to use this file in routine practice. For me, green is 35, but when you're talking about TF adaptive, green is 25 number file. So it's a bit tricky system. Yes, and they have adapted this method or this ideology of color coding on the basis of traffic light signals. Like green means go. The first file that enters the canal is your green file, which is 25 number file. Okay. Then next is yellow. In the signal, yellow means to wait. Next file you put inside the canal is 50 number file. That's 35 number file. You put a 35 number file inside the canal and then you assess if you require more shaping, then you should go with a red file, or if this is fine, then you should not progress further. Okay, red means stop. Once your red file reaches the apical constriction, you stop. Okay, that is the final file. So coming to the end of lecture, finally, we have covered, oh yes, self-adjusting file is left. Self-adjusting file means the files which move in a vibratory transline motion. Okay, the ideology is these files shape and clean the canal together as complete a job as possible. This system was invented somewhere in the year 2010 or 11 by Dr. Zevi Metzger from Israel and his team. And this system basically relies on two principles. It shapes the canal, it cleans the canal. You don't need a separate irrigating system with this SAF system. Okay. And it has a file. You can see the files here. These files are quite compressible. They have, instead of having a solid core, central core, they have a lattice. So they can be compressed and they can take the shape of any canal form. Okay. These files are available in two sizes, 1.5 and 2. That is the tip size when compressed. 1.5 tip size corresponds to your 20 number K file. Okay. And your 2 millimeter file corresponds to your 30 or 35 number K file. All right. So it has two components. One is RDT handpiece head. There is a hand which can be attached to your endomotor, and there is a Vatia irrigation pump. This irrigation pump has a box in which you should put sodium hypochlorite. Okay, and the capacity is
And the capacity of flushing it is like it. You can change the speed. The ideal speed is in 1 minute it should irrigate 4 ml of sodium hypochlorite. This pump should produce 4 ml of sodium hypochlorite inside the canal. Okay, it flushes the canal with 4 ml of sodium hypochlorite. Ideally, this is the suggested protocol, but you can change the delivery of sodium hypochlorite like you. It can be 1 ml till 10 ml per minute. Okay. Then there is handpiece. This handpiece has the capacity of changing the rotations of endomotor or rotations of micromotor into vibrations, because SAF basically works by vibration motion. It The file vibrates in the canal like this. Okay. When the file is loose inside the canal, it rotates. But as soon as it touches the dentine, the surface of the dentine, it vibrates. By vibration, okay, the file produces a abrasive action on the radicular dentine. And that is how it shapes the radicular dentine. So this handpiece converts the rotational movement of the motor into the vibrations which are generated inside the canal. The recommended vibrations are 5,000 vibrations in 1 minute. Okay. And as we all know, a lot of studies have been done with SAF, and SAF is supposed to be the best system till date, from my point of view. You can see here, um, uh, this is how the rotary files produces round preparation because the files are round. One, with SAF. SAF can take the shape of the canals because the files are flexible. So you can see the preparation here of flat canals. Most of the canals are flat in anatomy. Okay, if you look at the canals of central incisors, they are not round, they are oval. If you talk about mandibular distal canals, they are oval. Mesials can be round, but when there is one distal, it is mostly oval in nature. But files are round. So round files cannot shape the canals properly. This can only be done by self-adjusting file system. Okay, which takes the shape of the canal. Even studies have been done, and it was reported that SAF has the capacity to shape and clean the canals as much as possible in comparison to other rotary and reciprocating files. This is the case that I did around 5 years back with SAF, and these are all single visit cases. After 24 hours, patient reported with absolutely no pain. He did not even take analgesics. Look at this case. One premolar RC was done, and on the next day, you know, just after that day, in this patient only, I did premolar RC, and just after next day, after 24 hours, I did molar RC. The patient was really happy. You can see the curvature here, how beautifully this has negotiated. See. Yes, this canal was shaped using SAF. It was irrigated using SAF. And you can see here, even after placement of calcium hydroxide, the canal was irrigated. It was cleaned in such a beautiful manner that high consistency calcium hydroxide went inside the lateral canal. When we talk about parameters like apical extrusion of the debris, SAF has been reported to produce minimum debris in comparison with ProTaper and hand files. Even when you compare with the latest file systems like XP EndoFinisher files, SAF produces minimum debris. Okay, and this is the study which I showed you previously. The patients with SAF reported significantly less pain. Then again, we did a study. We compared forces and vibrations generated in the apical direction by using three different files. We used S1, TS1 and TS2 two-shape files in rotary motion. We used Wave1 Gold and we used SAF. SAF file produced minimum force. That means SAF file produces minimum torque inside the canal, minimum chances of hydrogenic errors. TS1 and TS2 produced lesser torque than compared to your wave 1 cold file, lesser force than compared to your wave 1 cold file. Okay, so the idea is very simple. If somebody is going to ask me which system would you prefer, I would recommend you to go for two shape rotary shear system. Why? Because SAF, although this has the best qualities in comparison with everything, all right, the I would say the learning curve of SAF is pretty high. It's very high. So if you're not thorough with SAF, there is no point in buying this unit. So when we talk about predictability, what questions comes in our mind? Which motion is good? If somebody is going to ask me, I would recommend reciprocating motion is good, is better than your rotating motion, until unless you know which file system you are going to use and what is the nature of the file, whether it cuts in clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction, and what are the reciprocating and rotation angles. Second, which file system is good? That depends upon the operator. Okay, for me, I prefer rotary files. I'm a big fan of two shape files. Okay, I don't prefer reciprocating files as of now. Why? Because all the reciprocating files which are marketed right now, they have greater taper. And I prefer files with lesser taper. Wave 1 Gold is a good option, but if you talk about cost effectiveness, if you talk about the use in curved canals, I would prefer to use a heat treated file, rotary file. Okay, that's my choice. And which endomotor is good? Endomotor which has low torque values, which has auto reverse direction, auto reverse function, auto stop function, and ATR technology is definitely the best one. So thank you so much. That's all for today. And I'm going to share the recorded version of the lecture in my YouTube channel. So you can please follow on YouTube channel. Also, the lecture is live, was live on Facebook. So it's going to be on Facebook also in my timeline. Then, yes, we are meeting again on 6th of September when I'm going to club everything and talk about the reasons of file fracture and how can you minimize file fracture in your routine practice. So that's all for today. Thank you so much. There are a few questions. Uh, there are a few questions. Can we measure the reactionary torque? No, we cannot measure the reactionary torque. We cannot measure the reactionary torque. Second question is by Dr. Ankit. Which one is better? Auto stop and auto reverse. I would suggest auto reverse is better. Okay. And also this function of auto reverse and auto stop basically depends upon the canal morphology, whether the canal is curved or whether the canal is calcified. Third, what does apical distance control means? Apical distance control means you put the file inside the canal, and as soon as the file reaches the apical constriction or as soon as the file is reaching the apical constriction, there will be change in the torque values by the endomotor. How many canal can we shape using Pro Taper Gold? I have no idea. I think one sequence of Pro Taper Gold, by one sequence of Pro Taper Gold, you can shape around 6 molars with curved canals, sorry. So that makes 6 into 3, 18 more curved canals. Which file system is the best? That is exclusively the choice of manufacturer, and that is the choice of operator, sorry. As I mentioned, I'm comfortable with rotary files. So for me, a rotary file which is heat treated by advanced thermal treatments, which is electro polished, and which has desired file design is good for me. Okay. There is another question by Dr. Somit Singh. I think it's very long. I can answer it later, please. 8% taper should be used up to apex or middle third. Up to middle third, only orifice openers are used. Your shaping file should not be used up to middle third. And if the file has 8% taper, please avoid to use it in canals with apical curvatures. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. So I'm going to close the session now. If you have any problem, you can contact on my WhatsApp address, WhatsApp number. So the number is there in the presentation. Thank you all.